This assignment contains several learning exercises rolled into one assignment. First, we will reinforce the use of some simple text and math functions that you should already know and are available in all spreadsheet programs. We will learn how to use spreadsheets to support simple mail merge type functions that you wouldn't be able to do using a word processor like Microsoft Word. We will demonstrate this by creating some sentences and inserting them into a WordPress page. Finally, you will do the assignment using Google Spreadsheets and learn how to share them. We will start with 5 text files containing data for 5 of the columns: names.txt, mt1.txt, mt2.txt, adjectives.txt, and domains.txt. You will use these files, shown here in yellow, to create a spreadsheet with first and last names, scaled test scores, and some sentences that you will insert into a new page on your website. Notice these sentences vary depending on data specific to each row. When you are done, you will hand in the spreadsheet by sharing it with me using my email address. To start, log into your Gmail hawaii.edu email account. Click Drive at the top. Click Create on the left. Select Spreadsheet. Name your spreadsheet starting with your last name. We will start with the names.txt file. Click and open the names.txt file. Select the rows using the browser's Edit menu and choosing Select All. Then copy them using the browser's Edit menu again and choosing Copy. Switching to your spreadsheet, highlight the first cell A1 by clicking on it. Using your browser's Edit menu, not the spreadsheet's Edit menu, choose Paste. The names.txt file should now appear in column A. Now we will add columns that contain just the first and last names. You notice the last name is everything to the left of the comma, but not including the comma. You will notice the first name is everything starting 2 positions to the right of the comma, up to, but not including, the second space. So, let's look at the functions we will be using to accomplish this. To see what functions are available, you use the Help menu in the Google Spreadsheet window. Choose Functions. The Google Spreadsheet's function list will appear in a new window. We will be using logical functions, math functions, statistical functions, and text functions. First, let's look at the text functions. Scroll down the text functions. We will be using the find function to find the position of the comma and the second space. We will be using the left function to grab the last name. We will be using the len length function to know how long the first and last names are. And we will be using the mid function to grab the first name from the full name. Notice there are a lot more text functions here to do lots of things. For math functions, we are also going to use the round function and the sum function. For statistical functions, we are going to use average, count, max, and min. So let's start real simple and make a column that just has the position of the comma in the names field. Let's call it position of comma. In cell B2, we will put the position of the comma in A2 using the find function. The find function needs to know what you're looking for, where you're looking, in this case it's cell A2, and an optional start position, which we won't need the first time because we're looking from the beginning. So in B2, we type $find, parentheses, quote, comma, A2, end parentheses, and press enter. What appears in the cell should be the position of the comma in the name field. You can now copy this formula all the way down to see that it works for all the names. Now we can write the formula for the last name using the left function. The left function wants to know the text, which is A2, and the length, which is actually one less than the position of the comma. If you count the number of characters in the last name, you will see it is one less than the position of the comma. So in cell C2, type $left, parentheses, A2, comma, B2 minus 1, end parentheses, and press enter. And you see that the last name appears. You can copy this down to see that it works for all names. Now our strategy is to find the first name between the comma and the second space. For this, we need the position of the second space. Let's add a column with that, position of second space. So, in cell D2, type $find, left parentheses, quote, space, quote, comma, A2, comma, starting 2 positions after the comma in B2, then end parentheses, then enter. Now when we copy this down, we realize that not everyone has a middle initial, so not every name has a second space. We can fix this in a clever way by just adding a second space to the end of the name after the first name. To do this, let's add a new column at column D by clicking D and clicking the Insert menu and clicking Column Left. For a title in D1, type names plus space. Then in cell D2, we can use the concatenate function to concatenate a space on the end of the full name by entering concatenate, left parentheses, A2, comma, quote, space, quote, end parentheses, and press enter. You can't tell by looking at it that it works because you're just adding a space at the end. But now we can modify the formula in E2 so it uses column D instead of column A. Click E2 and change the A in A2 so it's D2 and press enter. It won't change anything for the first name, But when we copy D2 and E2 down, you see it works for all names, whether or not there's a middle initial. Now let's make a column computing the length of the first name. We're going to use this for the mid function for grabbing the first name. The length of the first name is the position of the second space minus the position of the comma minus 2 more because the first name actually starts 2 positions after the comma. So in cell F2, type equal sign E2 minus B2 minus 2 and press enter. We can copy this down and we see that it works for all the names. Finally, now we can use the mid function to slice out the first name. In cell G2, enter equal mid left parentheses D2 comma B2 plus 2 because we're starting 2 positions after the comma F2 end parentheses and press enter. And when we copy cells F2 and G2 all the way down, we see that it works for all names. This concludes the first part of the assignment. We have extracted out the first and last names from the full name.